The summer has been busy with thrift shopping, rummage, and estate sales, so let's see what vintage treasures I found for cheap. It's time for another episode of Thrifting for Vintage. Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer. Welcome to Antiquing Adventures, where I share the vintage treasures I find in thrift stores and antique malls. Thanks for coming on this adventure with me. Who remembers green stamps? From 1896 through the late 1980s, the Sperry and Hutchinson S&H Company issued their green stamps, which shoppers received with purchases at grocery stores, department stores, or gas stations. Once enough stamps were collected, these could be used to shop in the S&H catalog. In fact, in the 1960s, they produced more stamps than the U.S. Postal Service. The company eventually moved to green points, which could be used for online purchases at a few stores in New York and New Jersey, but this ended in 2020. There were several other companies that offered similar stamp programs, but the green stamps are perhaps the most well remembered. Next up is this working 1950s Sunbeam Mixmaster mixer. I believe I paid less than $10 for this, including the extra bowl. Sunbeam scientifically determined mixing speeds, which was a game changer at the time. It meant that instead of the mixer getting stuck with the contacts in the middle of the bowl, the large beaters mixed everything evenly, eliminating the need to stop and scrape the sides of the bowl. Now, this was a special find at a local rummage sale. This wedding cake topper, I believe, is from the 1950s based on her hairstyle. It's in excellent condition for its age, with details like her little veil still intact. Kind of sad to think this didn't stay in the family of the person who owned it, but their loss was my gain. I paid about $2.50 for this treasure. At that same sale, I found these two Hager pottery vases. The brown one is mid-century, and the gold one may be also, but I can't find information to confirm its age. I may do a video on Hager pottery, so drop a comment if you'd be interested in learning more about them. They've been out of business since 2016, so that makes these pieces special. I paid around $5 each for these. Another good place to find discounted vintage treasures is your local Habitat for Humanity restore. Proceeds help fund the organization, and they often get some cool vintage items, like this typewriter and antique cash register. The Juno cash registers, initially made in the late 1800s, were originally made from wood. Brass began to replace the wood in the late 1880s, and steel became the material of choice starting in 1915. So if you're trying to date one of these, pay attention to what it's made from. These are listed on eBay now anywhere from a couple $100 to over 2,000, depending on age, condition, etc. This one is priced at $200. Antique typewriters like this one can be a favorite collector's item. In fact, Tom Hanks owned hundreds of them at one point. Things that increase the value of these include being in working order, the type of font, having a brand name on them, and the kind of typewriter, with tabletop or portable typewriters being the most valuable. They can go for a couple hundred to over 1,500. This one is priced at $85, but the note on top says it needs some work. Finally, also found at the Habitat Restore are these striking antique doors from India, measuring 51 inches by 78.5 inches, or a little over 4.5 feet by 6.5 feet tall. You don't see doors like this every day, even at salvage yards. Needless to say, they did not come home with me. I don't know what type of building these came from, but Habitat suggests they would be a great accent door for pantry, closet, wine cellar, or evil genius bar. So those were my vintage finds this month. Which was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what vintage treasures you'd like me to feature in the future. If you liked this video, make sure you follow the adventure by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. See you on my next adventure.